Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Here we are today in Baconsthorpe. We're at the castle here. This is a village in North Norfolk. It's actually very close to the coast, very close to Holt. It's just down the road. And if you go directly north from here, you'd be in Weybourne, which is between Sheringham, well-known town on the North Norfolk coast, and Cley. Today we'll be going through Bodham, Hempstead, and quite close to Holt and High Kelling as well on our walking route. We've got a circular walk today, and I'm going to actually show you around the castle ruins and give you a little bit of the history before we get going. Just so you can get your bearings, we are just a few miles away from Holt, so if you need any facilities such as toilets, cafe, anything like that, that's where you would find them. Here is literally just the castle. It's £2 to park here, a great place to start the walk from. It's actually looked after by English Heritage. So let's get started then with our little tour of Baconsthorpe Castle. This is actually one of my favourite ruins in Norfolk. I do love a good ruin. I do love going to look at old castles. This one is brilliant because you've got a lot of the initial gatehouse here that you come to first, still standing. This was actually lived in until about 1920, until one of the turrets collapsed, and now English Heritage looks after it, as I said. Another great thing about this is that you've got quite a lot of the walls. You've got another area of it in there, as you can see through that archway, so you can get a really good idea of how big it actually was. And you still, as we come to the back, you will see there's still a moat there as well. So there's certain areas where we have to be very careful. Just as a warning here, falling debris, caution. But we can go around and have a look. We can't get through this area, but if we just go around the side, let's give you a little look in there. Don't know what that was, where it must have been a fireplace or something like that. Still got a little bit of that archway there. So you're probably wondering why it's called Baconsthorpe, this village. It was actually owned in Norman times by a family whose surname was Bacon. So that's where that comes from. Oh, lovely view to come through this archway here. See another part of the castle. So a family called the Haydens, originally called the Baxters, actually changed their name to hide lowly origins. They actually built this castle in the 15th century. I believe it was around 1450. And they turned it into a textile factory. They were lawyers by trade, but actually were a lot to do with the wool industry. And this was turned into this wool factory, and it had these giant windows at the sides, if you can imagine, so that the spinners could actually see what they were doing. And they made a lot of their money from that rather than from law. And they sold their wool to the Netherlands and England as well. They weren't particularly good at the upkeep of their estate though, so they did fall into quite a bit of debt. And they started to solve this by selling off parts of their land, and eventually, you can see the moat there at the side, eventually they actually had to sell parts of the building. They had to demolish it, and it was sold and used elsewhere. So there used to be some stained glass shields in here somewhere that are now actually in Baconsthorpe Church. This is amazing. A lot of ruins you go to, it's just like a tiny little bit of wall, and you just have to imagine. But this is really, really good. You've got little information boards here as well. So this is the inner gatehouse here. Just coming through under here. So although we couldn't go through the first gatehouse, this one seems to be deemed safe enough. Look at that, look up there. See all the windows still as they were. Brilliant. Okay. And you come out towards the back here. So they've obviously put in something here to keep these windows, keep the structure of the windows as they were. You can see another little bit there of a corner turret area, I guess. Another one on the side there. I don't know what this was. It'll probably say on the signs. Got another sign over here. So this actually talks about the wool industry. So it was actually around 1650 that they started having to sell off parts of their land and demolish because of the debts. So they had it for quite a while. The Hayden family owned this for over 200 years before things started going a little wrong for them. I'm just going to take you over here and show you a bit of the moat. Here we are. It's more like a pond actually. So it is quite wide at this point, but as you go along the back, if I take you to the back, you'll see it does look a little bit more like a moat here. So the gatehouse at the front, once they'd had to sell off and demolish other parts of it, was actually converted into a private dwelling. It was called Baconsthorpe Hall, and this was the structure that actually one of the turrets collapsed in 1920, which meant that people couldn't live there anymore. Look at that. So it comes round, as you can see, it's a little bit more narrow here. If we take you around, that goes all the way around the back. I'm lucky in that I'm the only person here right now, so it's really nice and peaceful. It's quite a nice day for a walk as well. It's not the sunniest day, but it is dry and it's around about 17-18 degrees, which when you're going along at a fair walking pace is actually perfect. You don't want it to be too hot. It doesn't look like we're going to get wet today either, so that's absolutely perfect. So I will take you back to the car park and we can start our walk. I will insert some pictures or footage of the map and the route that we'll be using. There we are. Get an idea of the moat there. So it does go all the way around. Brilliant. This is lovely. This is worth coming to see, just coming to see this, even if you're not walking. So say if you're not a walker, you're just interested in a bit of history, you like to get outside, like to explore a bit of your home county, then come along and take a look. I just think that looks so impressive. It's still got one of those turrets there. It's one of my favourite parts of Castle is the turret. Just all the archways. Going to have to go out round the side to avoid the falling masonry. Let's go through this little arch actually. So we actually come out of the car park here to get onto the footpath. We go down the farm track a little bit, and to our left a little bit further up will be the first footpath that we actually go onto for the walk. So we are heading north out of Baconsthorpe Castle and eventually up to Bodham, and the sun has come out. As you can see, got my shades on, so it looks like it's going to be a really nice day for walking. This is such a lovely field. I don't know what this stuff is. Let me know in the comments if you know what it is, because I haven't seen it in Norfolk before, I don't think. careful to go into this church at the moment. Sounds like there's a couple of people in there. Just noticed this little nook here as we're coming out of the church. Don't know what that was used for, but quite like the look of that. So now we've finished having a little look inside the church. We're going to head on down the road a little bit and then up towards the village of Bodham itself. So this is a small village on the main road between Crome and Holt, just south of Weybourne, just north of Baconsthorpe. It actually features in the Domesday Book, so let's go and check it out. To understand the name of Bodham, we need to actually go back to the old village sign. Bodham actually means Bodder's village, and Bodder was a tax collector. He's mentioned in the Domesday Book too, and the sign depicts a tax collector going about his day. We took a very small detour just to go up to the pub here in the village. So we're just walking past the village hall now and coming up to the pub, which is called the Red Hart. It has a restaurant too at the pub. Pets are also welcome, and during the pandemic lockdown it actually provided a takeaway service and also opened a community shop as well. The village also has some allotments and a fishing lake too. So we're here outside the Red Hart in Bodham. It's got a nice outside area here as well. Just coming down Weybourne Road. Look at that. Little wicker man there. And at the side of the road here we've got a giant sunflower. Look how pretty that is. Front of somebody's garden. Really, really nice. I'm currently walking on a crossfield path now towards Weybourne. We're not going to go quite that far, so we're going to go through a bit of woodland and then on to High Kelling. As you can see, the sun has come out properly. We've got blue skies, 2 layers off now, just in the t-shirt and the shades. So it's turned out being a really nice day. So now across the field and we are in Bodham Wood. We're going to be meandering around to the left at some point, and then we'll be going towards High Kelling. Coming down to the end of this path here, we've got really good signage. If we come around to the other side, got all the footpath arrows there, and the footpath does go down to the right, but we are actually going left towards High Kelling. Oh, the train there, if you heard that in the background. There's also a little path that goes through those trees. The other side there, I don't know if you could see, I don't think it's coming out on the film, but there is quite a large campsite, and that's at the back of the farm. I think at the moment farmers are just really cashing in on the whole everybody wants to go camping situation, what with the pandemic and everything. So there's a lot more campsites that seem to have sprung up. So here we are now heading down to High Kelling. Now High Kelling, it was not a historic settlement, but it actually came into being around the 1900s, and there used to be a tuberculosis hospital here, which is now part of Kelling Hospital. The church used to be the chapel for the Bramblewood Sanatorium, which was actually the place that cared for the TB patients. There's also around here somewhere a large building called Vowood. I'm not sure whether we're going to be going past it, but it's quite impressive. I've seen pictures of it, and it was built using only local craftsmen and materials. So
I think it is a speckled wood. I haven't seen any this year. Not certain, but take it anyway. I'll look it up. I'm not sure if speckled doesn't have black around the white. But...
We are now heading south towards Hempstead, but on our way we've got a nice little lunch stop planned at Selbrigg Pond. Now we're coming up to it now. It was created in 1810 as a header reserve for Hempstead Mill, and it's now a conservation pond and no fishing is allowed here. But the fish that live here are pike, roach, tench, perch and eel, and a large terrapin was actually found during some reed clearance as well. So let's just take a look around here. Got quite a few swans. Nice little log to sit on there. And it looks like we've got some information here on this tree. So it quite clearly says no fishing. And then let's just have a look at this. Hempstead Art Exhibition. 4th and 5th, so that's today and tomorrow. And then we've got some of the cygnets down here. Hey guys, waiting for food. Nice to see a bit of wildlife. So I'm just gonna head on up and find a nice place to sit. Down the other end here we've got a information sign. So this is about where we are. We started off at Baconsthorpe Castle, headed up towards Bodham, came round through the woods to High Kelling. We're having our lunch here. We'll then actually be going a little further south to Hempstead and then back across to Baconsthorpe Castle again. As you can see, Holt is quite near to us there. And then we've just got some information about the different kinds of fish that are in here and the swans as well, and some toads and the terrapin as well, 2015. So here we are coming up to Hempstead Church, and I thought I'd give you guys a little glimpse of this because it has a little bit of a thatched roof on the end. I think it's really nice and pretty. So let's have a look at this. It's quite a small little building there. It's a nice stained glass in the end. Just get a little closer so we can have a look at that. Yeah, just a really nice shaped roof. This is actually quite a small village, no pub, no post office anymore or anything like that, but it does have this church and a village hall. And as you saw, we came past some nice little cottages as well on the way here. Let's see if it's open.
Stairs up the open there. It's quite nice, isn't it? And we're coming back up into the side of Baconsthorpe and back up to the castle now. So we've just seen the water tower there behind us, and we're almost back to the castle. Now we've just come to the end of the field and into an area where we thought would be good for glamping, and then we just come around the corner and there's these 3 little log cabins here. Look really nice. I'd love to stay in one of these actually at some point. And here we are, the castle just coming into view here, approaching it from a different angle at the end of the walk. And it's beautiful weather now, as you can see, blue skies, actually still quite warm. Actually approaching the front part of the castle, it looks like, because you can see the turret there in the distance and the field of cows next to it as well.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.